Willie D Live.
What's up, family? 4 men walked into a restaurant and gunned a man down as he was having dinner with his family. Did him bad, fam. I'm talking about bad. 2 walked in first, and they can be seen unloading on dude as his family scrambles for cover. Then 2 other guys rush in and start shooting. This is absolutely a professional hit. Besides the guy just being gunned down in cold blood in front of his family, that included a couple of kids, one of the males that was with him held one of the kids in front of him for cover. Talk about an uncivilized mutt. Back to the guy that got gunned down. Family, for all my street dudes, the gangsters, the hitters, let me explain something to you. And I want to be specific about what type of gangsters, hitters, street guys. The ones who claim to love your family, right? Claim to love your kids. Claim to love your wife, your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother. If you are living that life, you are not living a life that is conducive to public appearances or eating out in public. You have to stay at home and eat. And if you do go out, you have to have hitters around you if you're not tired of living. Because when those killers come, they ain't asking no questions. The killers are not going to show up and say, "Excuse me, man, can you move over while I shoot your husband? I need to handle this business right quick." When the killers come, they're not gonna say, "Hey, ma'am, I know you're a nice lady, but, your son got out of pocket and we gotta kill him, and we also gotta kill you because you're a witness." When I was in the streets being wild and crazy, I never allowed other hitters to come to my crib. I never let them come around my family. People didn't even know where I stayed. Wherever I got down at, they had no idea where I lived. Because I know there are people who don't have boundaries. They will gun you down in front of your child. I'll share a quick story with y'all, very personal, but I'm gonna tell it in hopes of helping somebody. Several years ago, maybe 9, 10, I paid this guy to install about $30,000 worth of aftermarket equipment on one of my vehicles. He got almost to the end. He only had about $4,000 left of equipment to install. I owed him 10 overall, so I was up. But he kept playing around. He started ghosting me. He couldn't get the job done. He wouldn't get the job done. So I finally wrote him off, and I blocked his number. I decided I was going to get somebody else to finish the work. Blocked his number. That's it. The next day, I find out that on the day that I blocked his number, he was murdered. And the way the story came back is, from his woman, is that dude pulls up on him on Easter Sunday and pull a hammer out on him. And he's like, "Man, you gonna do this in front of my kid?" He had a little boy with him. "You gonna do this in front of my kid?" And the dude thought about it for a second and then started dumping on him. Emptied the clip on him. All the shots, headshots. In front of his woman, in front of his baby. My point is, when the killers come, they're not asking questions. Most of these dudes today, they ain't got no type of principles. Ain't no code whatsoever. They want what they want. And That's what it is. The trip thing about an op is, oftentimes the op don't think of his op like he thinks of himself. But the op is exactly like his op. The op don't respect nothing. Anything goes. So what happens is when you don't have principles, when you don't have a code, you put yourself at risk even more. You put your family and others around you at risk because anything goes. And that's a code that you are actually helping to create. If you got ops, you don't get to have a very public life. You don't get to go out in public like normal people and just sit in the park or sit at a restaurant with your family and eat dinner. Those ops are looking for you. They are targeting you. And wherever they get the opportunity to get you at, to knock your head off, that's where they're gonna do it. It don't matter where it is. It could be at a restaurant. It could be in church. If you got street ops, you don't get to go out in public and just kick it like everybody else. You don't get to just go to the club. You don't get to just sit in the park, go shopping, hang out in your front yard and water the grass. You don't get to do that. You don't get to just go to your mom's house for Thanksgiving, go to the theater with your woman. You don't get to do normal things. You have ops, and ops have an agenda. What's the agenda? To stop you from breathing. No more talk.